I'd sneak it in my pockets. So I had to put it in a Ziploc bag.
You want some pocket ice cream?
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And I'm up here making love to this microphone today, Mike. Hope this sounds good for everybody. We got 5 sleeps or less from Avengers Infinity War, depending on when you listen to this.
That's right.
Don't count the days. The sleeps are more important. I think it's actually 4 sleeps. I think I'm horribly wrong, but that's okay.
You always sound like a 12-year-old, or I guess more younger, maybe like a 6-year-old when they're asking, like, when's my birthday party? When's my birthday party? Oh, it's just 6 more sleeps, honey. It's just 6 more sleeps.
That's right.
Oh.
There are less. Days you can't avoid, but sleeps, just you power right through them, man. You never know. Fox is wrapping up their X-Men franchise.
Finally.
Good for everybody. No bad news there. Buy your Deadpool tickets now, folks. Don't hold back.
Because I got to him before you all did. So
that's right, he did. Mike's cheating the system. And more this week, and more.
Yeah, so we are on, this is like the eve, it's like the dawn of the final day when you're playing Ocarina of Time. Well, not Ocarina, Majora's Mask. Like the moon's about to just destroy the Earth, but the moon, in our case, is just a big poster of Infinity War slowly coming towards us.
It's Thanos throwing the moon at us from the trailer.
Yes, exactly. I've been doing my best to avoid TV spots and spoilers, so far so good.
Yes, I've seen one more spot that I wish I had, but it was more for research sake, actually. Tracking down, because we know most of the voice actors for the Black Order now, except one. And someone had thought that's who it was, so I had to go watch this and listen to see if I could figure out who it was, but inconclusive, Mike. But we are, I mean, like I said, around the corner. What I did this weekend was actually go watch the movie that would maybe like cleanse my movie-going palate, if you will.
Okay.
I went and saw Super Troopers 2 in theaters.
Oh, Super Troopers 2, the Indiegogo project that could.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's kind of why I saw it, because I knew it was a crowdfunded project. My friends have a huge love for the first one. I like to quote the first one. It's easily quotable. I don't know about you. But I was like, I'll go see what this is. I mean, I know Zoolander 2 did not live up to people's hypes. Dumb and Dumber or 2 or whatever it was called, the sequel, not the prequel, didn't live up to my expectations as well. But this one, I had a good time because they didn't rehash their old jokes, and when they did, they called themselves out on it.
Oh, good. Just before, it's funny, you're talking about this right now. Before we got on the mic, maybe 5 minutes before, I saw a sponsored ad on my Instagram from Arby's with Farva holding a liter of cola. And he's like, I finally got my liter of cola. And I was like, if this is what Super Troopers 2 is going to be, just fulfilling all of the jokes from the first movie, I don't think I'm going to have a good time. But it sounds like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, no, that ad actually does not line up with the movie whatsoever. So
good.
I think that's just hey, you remember this line from the first one? Go eat at Arby's. But it was cool. I had some fun cameos in there. I think it's one of the main actors you can see from the trailer is Rob Lowe, and he has fun hamming it up with his Canadian accent. Will Sasso also plays a Canadian Mountie. I don't know if you remember him from Mad TV.
Yeah, I love Will Sasso.
He played Kenny Rogers on a bunch of skits. And that's like one of my favorite ones. So, but the thing was, I went to clean my palate because the theater wasn't packed. It was a Saturday afternoon. Just kind of like, hey, I'm just here in a normal theater because when Infinity War drops, I don't know how many times I'm going to be in those theaters. But, like, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat the first through probably the 5th time. Yeah, and if someone makes so much as a noise, I will stab them with this pen in my hand. But we had a good time doing that, and that was my 421 weekend, Mike. What about you? What did you do this weekend? Anything fun?
Well, what I did was I decided to fulfill my promise this weekend that I gave to all of you listeners out there, and you yourself, Chris, where I said I would go back and I would rewatch Age of Ultron, and I would give it its due justice. And that's what I did this weekend. I decided it would be criminally wrong for me to go see Infinity War on Thursday without it at the very least rewatching the first Avengers movie. You know, we talked last week about what would be the perfect trio of movies to catch you back up for Infinity War. And Avengers is on everybody's list no matter what. So, you know, I watched that. And then after that, you know, I was all jazzed. And I was like, I got to watch Winter Soldier. That's my favorite Marvel movie. So I popped that one. I watched it. And I was like, oh, I got 2 in. You know, I haven't seen Age of Ultron since the theaters. You know, I got to watch it. I didn't own it. You know, I was really close to just renting it on like YouTube, but we swang by the grocery store to pick up some snacks, and there was a Redbox there, and luckily my wife was just like, "Hey, check out that Redbox. You know, maybe it's in there." And I was like, "I don't know, that movie's pretty old," but I think Redbox was smart enough to bring all of these old Marvel movies back, or at least just keep them in perpetuity on all of their boxes, because I'm sure they get rented a lot. So, picked up Ultron on Blu-ray for like $2 last night, and you know, I sat down, I gave it a watch, and I think if I had to hit on the positives of this movie, there are parts in this movie that I think are great Avengers like sequences that don't need any changes, like no notes whatsoever, like a studio would ever take notes from me. The Hulkbuster fight is almost perfect. I almost wouldn't change anything there. It's hilarious. I forgot how funny the part was when he's like punching him in the face and he goes like, "Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep." Like, that's just a classic moment that had just floated out of my head since it's been so long since I've seen the movie. I love the bravado scene where they're all trying to pick up the hammer and Thor's face when Cap goes to pick it up and he's all worried. That's just great. I love the opening sequence of the movie when they have that kind of hero shot when the camera slows down and they're kind of jumping over that barrier when they're storming Strucker. I thought it was like a Baron or something.
It's Baron von Strucker.
Somebody's castle. So, you know, there's parts in that movie that are just like solid, hardcore, but still when it comes around to the farm scene, I'm just like pausing it every 2 minutes, just like complaining next to my wife, because she's the only one there to listen to me. I'm like, oh, this is dumb and stupid. Oh, and there goes Thor off on his dumb studio note mission. And this DVD surprisingly had deleted scenes and extras on it, because I didn't know Redbox movies still did that. So I watched the extended scene of Thor in that cave puddle. Oh man, the extended scene is just way worse. Like, you thought like what they had in the movie and the final cut was shoehorned in. That extended scene just makes it even more ridiculous. But I guess if you want to see Chris Hemsworth without a shirt on, you get a little bit more footage of that. But I think the thing that bugs me the most about the movie, that is something that kind of lingers past into the future movies that precede it, is the origin of Vision. You know, I like who Vision is as a character, so I'm glad he's kind of out there in the world and we have him, but he has the most convoluted birth that really doesn't make any sense. So he's just like, he's part like organic research from some random scientist in South Korea. He's a little bit of vibranium that apparently this metal sticks to organic tissue, which didn't come up at all in the Black Panther movie. You thought maybe that kind of science might pop up with how high tech that they were. He's a little bit of Ultron CPU hard drive, but like 90% of it, but he's not evil like Ultron. He just has like his base knowledge that they said. He's a little bit of Jarvis, that gets thrown in there, and then he's kickstarted by Thor's lightning. It's just this weird mashup of just like, oh, how do we create? Oh, and then like the Mind Stone. So you have like these 6 bizarre scenarios that are just kind of just thrown together, and then it creates Vision. It just could have been a lot more organic way, because I mean, it's a mind gem, it's an Infinity Stone. We really don't know anything about it. You could have just thrown that stone on like an empty body, and then you could have just assumed that the stone would turn into life. And I think I would have been.
I think you would have complained regardless.
Well, it was just.
I think you'd be like, well, that's too simple. Like, how do you create a living being with just a stone?
Yeah, it's just such a weird origin. And then also, I forgot this movie has one of my biggest pet peeves of all movies, is when they try to visualize like technology and software and stuff like that. Like when Ultron like flees the tower and he like leaves Jarvis like destroyed, they throw up his like 3D hologram, and it's like his like 3D rendering is like destroyed, and it's just like Banner's is like, oh, this was savage. He didn't just want to like shut him down. He wanted to like teach him a lesson or something like that. It's just like, okay, that's not how computers work. It's like ones and zeros. We don't need to see these renderings.
Here's the thing. You're like, I want magic stones to bring people to life, but I don't like it when technology isn't real life. Come on, pick a side, Mike. Pick a side.
Well, that's the thing. Like, technology and magic, you don't have to explain. It can just, like, you can snap your finger and it happen. And that's the great thing about technology, too. Technology can do the same thing. I just don't need to see, like, a weird, like, bullshit 3D rendering. And, like, we dive into like Ultron's mind, and it's like all those like 3D blocks like moving around, and then Jarvis is like talking to Ultron, and I'm just like, this is just stupid. I hate that whole part of the movie. They kind of do something like that a little bit in Pacific Rim, where they're like Uprising, where they're like throwing those visuals up on the screen, and then like it's getting infected, so there's like something like going over the screen. I hate all that bullshit, but I think that's more just something inherently wrong with some Hollywood action movies to begin with. It's not like Avengers created that problem in that movie, but overall, I'm glad I revisited it because I was happy to see that there are genuine moments in that movie that are really, really great, that are not spoiled by anything around the movie at all. So that Hulkbuster scene, I love that. That was so much fun. And there's good jokes in there too. So, you could totally see how maybe Joss Whedon would be upset with the whole, superhero Marvel universe, that his movie got so convoluted with studio notes. But anyway, I'm glad I went back and rewatched it. I'm going to see if I can carve out some time and maybe watch a little bit of Civil War, because I think that's on Netflix, and that'll tee you right into Infinity War really well.
It will. And here's the thing. I mean, I think you need to research this a little more, because none of those were studio notes. They actually made him take his movie down a bit because it was a 3.5-hour movie.
Well,
so that was Joss Whedon's doing.
Well,
and he pulled it out.
He fought for the farm scene, which I won't defend him for that. But also, he was forced to put that Thor scene in there.
He put the Thor scene in it himself.
But I thought he was forced to put it in there because they wanted him to connect it further into the future movies.
No, he did all that. He was in charge of the universe. He was able to do what he wanted in that movie, and it was 3.5 hours long, and he had to cut it down.
I'm gonna have to do some. I'm gonna have to do some private Googling, because I swear I've heard that before.
You do some private. You should probably do some public Googling so we can see your history.
No, you don't want to see that, Chris.
Yeah. We should totally see that history. But you mentioned at the top of that, what 3 movies are people telling other people to watch to get ready for Infinity War? And after your diatribe of Age of Ultron, like just monologue, whatever it is, we do have winners for this. So first and foremost, for the digital copy, Marshall Myers, listener of the show, friend of mine, wins for his suggestion of Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor Ragnarok, leading right up to the movie, which are 3 good movies. I really like what he did there, leading right into it. And then the winner of the physical copy is listener Dakota Riley, who suggested Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Civil War, which I think were your choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
So lined up pretty good there. So I will be reaching out to you guys to get you your codes and movies. So thanks for listening and giving your ideas. So
yeah, look at that.
So not to break it down any longer, let's jump into the news here. Infinity War is this week, Mike. Do not get on the internet. Dread it. Run from it. It will still happen. It's gonna have people. I don't think can watch it early. I saw someone post on Reddit the theaters are starting to download their copies right now.
Oh man!
But they're all locked by Disney's encryption keys that are given. They give them a 20-minute key to test the footage, and then they're unlocked the day of at like 6:30 or whatever. Before
man, look at them holding it down.
So mine's 7 o'clock on Thursday. Some people have 6 o'clock on Thursday. When's your showing, Mike?
Mine is 8 Pacific time, so you will be safely out of your movie, I think, by the time I'm getting into mine.
Yeah. Unless it lasts forever. So, but yeah, I'll be sticking to those credits. I won't text you. You probably won't respond or look anything, so it's cool. So we'll be able to talk about it next weekend. The film budget for this has been revealed as in the $300 million range for production on this movie. Mm-hmm. Add in the marketing and the full totals to nearly $500 million for this movie, Mike. This one movie.
Yeah, this is an investment for them for sure. Because the crazy thing about Disney and this franchise is they don't necessarily need to worry strictly about the box office because they are making so much money in so other many verticals. Like not just like toys, you got Halloween costumes, you got theme parks, you got licensing deals with like Navel Oranges and like toothpaste companies.
I have Ziploc bags right here. Bags.
Ziploc bags like you just purchased. And then plus this is just the gift that just keeps on giving in the future. There's going to be box sets. There's going to be streaming deals. There's streaming service that's going to come out. That's just going to be, if somebody wants to buy a brand new streaming service, they would pay that much money just to have that content produced to begin with. So, man, so much money involved, and it's going to make so much money.
You think it's going to beat Star Wars or not?
Man, I think it's going to be top 3 for sure. I'm not sure if it's going to hit that number 1 spot, but I would be shocked if it's not in the top 3.
All right. Well, before we talk about that, we have a poster from this company, Odeon. Have you ever heard of them?
Mm-mm.
So I signed up. Apparently, they're like a ticketing company. I signed up for Deadpool alerts whenever Deadpool went on sale because you got yours. But they've released these 5 connected posters, which look really cool, by the way. So showing all the heroes and Thanos in the middle. And this actually was the first poster that made me realize how many people were in this movie because that's a lot of people across this poster. So
yeah,
I like it. I like the other. They did those shadow ones with the first Marvel set. I think the second phase as well, like with the shadows of the heroes and the villain, kind of like the one scene. So I think this pays homage to that a little bit. But ticket sales, pre-sales tickets, and interest in the movie for Infinity War is higher than the previous 2 Star Wars movies. Main story, so that's Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. So this could be number 1.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm not trying to say Disney is trying to pull one over on us, but we have known for the longest time, and really everyone else has, they haven't hid this, that originally this was going to be a 2-part movie, and then they drew a line in the sand and say, no, Avengers 3 and 4 are going to be their own separate gigs. They're going to be 2 completely distinct movies. And we're like, okay, that's great. But all of the marketing I've seen for this movie has said like it all ends here. It's all been culminating to this. That's great, and it could be very true. It happens in this movie, but I would be curious if you went up to just a casual person on the street who likes these movies but doesn't really look that much into them and say, hey, is this the last Avengers movie, or do you know that there's a 4th one coming out just in like 2 more years? Or no, it's the next year. No,
it's 1 year. It's 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year. So it's like I think they're just kind of drumming up that phrase of this is kind of where it all leads to. This is where it all ends. Just it translates to box office dollars. But people, you're gonna get another Avengers movie, man. We've already seen some set photos for it.
It's true. It's already wrapped. It's already filmed. It's coming. It's gonna get it. But that's cool. I mean, whether I think they're just worried about the here and now. They're not worried about the future because those people who watch this will buy tickets to the next one.
Oh yeah,
most likely. But do you think 3 or 4 will be bigger?
Yeah, that's the question because I think it seems like 3 is going to be big right now because you're having all of these heroes kind of come together for the first time. Thanos is finally going to show his face and he's going to be punching people, and that's what you love seeing in these movies. People get punched. So what is to be revealed in the 4th movie? That's the big question. I mean, if Thanos is still the villain, it's just like, okay, well, you've kind of already popped the Thanos cherry in Avengers 3. So unless like some sort of new crazy villain pops up, but no matter what villain it could be, they haven't been teased for the last 10 years, or like, well, I guess not 10, maybe like 7 or 6, whenever Avengers came out. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be just kind of like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. The Force Awakens made more money than The Last Jedi, but The Last Jedi still showed up pretty hard at the box office, so maybe we'll see something like that.
Yeah, the problem is not knowing what 4 is yet until the end of this movie, I assume, when they announce the title of the movie at the end credits of this movie.
Yeah, maybe Avengers 4 will be marketed like somebody's going to die in this movie. A lot of people have been saying, oh, who's going to die in Infinity War? Who's going to die in Infinity War? And it's like, well, I don't know. It might be like Rhodes or something like that. I don't think it's going to be anybody big. But maybe when 4 comes around, maybe there'll be hashtags like who's going to die? Who's going to die? I think that's where we'll actually see like the gravestone in the ground.
All right. I think a lot of people are going to die in this one because I think the second one's going to have more of the people we don't see like right now. Like, where's Hawkeye, man? Everybody wants to know where's Hawkeye.
And he's in a Ronin costume hiding in the shadows, trying to get away from his wife and his kids.
Yeah. So we're going to see where that is. I don't know. I mean, I think it'll beat... I hope it beats Star Wars, but that's me. I don't know. I like my Marvel movies a little more than I like my Star Wars movies, Mike, if you haven't noticed. Future Marvel Cinematic Universe directors have seen Avengers 4 to help with their upcoming films.
Oh, wow.
And I know the 3 directors. They have shown it to you. What movies do you think are on the horizon for Marvel?
Well, obviously the next Spider-Man movie, the next Guardians movie, a sequel to Black Panther for sure.
And you nailed it. You got all 3 of them. the 3 that have really been announced. So
yeah,
they've actually seen the 4th one. So which we have some news about that as well. So
damn.
That's really cool. That the director's like, hey, here is what's really happening, so you can plan accordingly, rather than just kind of like, hey, good luck, hope you figure it out. So, which also makes me feel like, the universe isn't going to reset itself at the end of Avengers 4, to like where it was like right before this. You know what I'm saying? Like they can't time stone it.
They've put too much work into this franchise to reboot everything that they've done. I could see them rebooting the physical team of the Avengers, like maybe they get disbanded, the Avengers aren't allowed to exist, or maybe they think like, oh, they've brought too much trouble to Earth, so we should just cancel the Avengers Initiative finally, and then maybe in a couple more movies they reboot it back up, or there's like an underground Avengers, secret Avengers. But I can't imagine like somebody's like Thanos is going to snap his fingers and just like mind erase everybody, because I feel like that's kind of a middle finger to the audience.
Yeah. I mean, I totally understand. So we'll see how that plays out. There's a book coming out called Titan Consumed. It's a novel, not a graphic novel, a written novel that will reveal the MCU origins of Thanos.
Wow!
What we don't get in the movie, of course, because it's not an origin movie for Thanos. So that's coming out, I think, in November. So we've got a little time, but I thought it was really cool that they're kind of doing that. I might actually pick it up and read it. I think my wife teaches 5th graders, and I think they might enjoy it. So if we buy it, then she can just keep it in her classroom for kids to read. I think it would be pretty cool.
There you go. You can join a book club with those little kids.
No, not really. They don't want book clubs. I don't want book clubs. So
all right.
They can just borrow my copy. All right. They can get learnt about Thanos. So they
learnt.
Avengers 4 has our first casting news, I think. Actress Emma Fuhrmann, I don't know who she is. She's a younger, like, teenage actress. Has been cast as a teenage version of Cassie Lang, which is the daughter of Scott Lang. Do we know if there's, like, a time jump? Because, I mean, that came out the same year as Age of Ultron, which was, like, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
So 4 years ago, maybe they needed a different actress. Is there time travel, alternate futures? I don't know, but... in the comic books, Cassie becomes the superhero known as Stature, who has growth and shrinking powers as well. So
Stature, what a
yeah,
what a very descriptive name, Stature.
It was vocab week in school when she got her powers, so she decided to.
It sounds like someone just picked up a thesaurus for like size and like stature. All right, there you go, superhero name.
Yeah, in the comic she died. They killed her. So hopefully the same thing doesn't happen here. So
this seems like a normal time progression for the. I don't remember how young the daughter was in that movie, but I could see her being a teenager by the time Avengers 4 comes out. Kids grow up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I totally understand. And the actress being a teenager, she could look much younger. Like actors tend to look a little younger than they usually are. So yeah, I don't think it's time travel or alternate future. I think it's just appropriate aging. Spider-Man Homecoming 2, a little bit of news here. Apparently the sequel will be more global and not just set in New York City the whole time.
Huh. That's a little surprising just because the first Homecoming movie was pretty suburban. We weren't really in the city that much. We didn't really get a whole lot of classic, iconic web slinging either, which was okay with me because it was a great movie. But I kind of thought maybe the movie would evolve into, downtown NYC. But maybe they're working their way up to that, possibly. I mean, really, if you think about it, what really drives Peter into the city is his job as a photographer for the Daily Bugle. That's why he actually needs to be in Manhattan. So, and right now he's in Brooklyn. So maybe they're going to save that for like the third third movie. Usually the trilogy kind of goes out for all the stops. So maybe that's when he'll make it to NYC. But globally, I'm trying to think, where does Peter go? Like, I don't really want to see him in like Miami Beach.
Well,
is he going to go to London and swing around Big Ben?
They have an exchange student from France who they say might be the Gwen Stacy we've talked about before. So there may be some France sequences. I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see where they could take him.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I guess if you look at it this way, we've had so many Spider-Man movies set in New York City. It just gives you an opportunity to go somewhere else. There's big buildings, other places. Oh, it'd be crazy to see Spider-Man in Dubai. I mean, I'm not trying to like turn this into like a crazy Fast and Furious movie where we just need to go to the most extreme cities in the world, but that would be really crazy to see what would happen if he was swinging on like the tallest building on the planet. But all right, I'm down for it. I'm ready for a title of the movie. It's weird calling it Homecoming too.
Homecoming Again is what they're going to end up calling it. So
Yeah.
no, I don't know. I mean, we don't.
Maybe
know
they'll call it like Spider-Man Abroad or Spider-Man Exchange Student. What's it called when you're like a student and is it just called Studying Abroad?
Well, I mean, depends what her name is.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's studying abroad, but I don't know if they have that in high schools. So we'll have to see. I don't know. They need a title. I agree. You think they'll give us one before we watch Avengers 4? I mean, it's a year away. This San Diego Comic-Con, so maybe it's San Diego.
It's weird to think that we're gonna see Spider-Man 2 more times before his next movie. We're gonna see him in Infinity War. We'll probably see him in Avengers 4. So it sounds like we got a whole lot of Peter Parker to get through first. So
yeah, he'll have his 10 minutes of movie time. Hopefully, he's got some good swinging in this upcoming movie. Looks like, judging by those trailers too. So
yeah, and judging by some officially released Hot Toys, I think I've seen parts of his suit that have been spoiled, unfortunately.
Yeah, they've been having the. I mean, I walked into, I think it was getting groceries earlier, and they have the Infinity War section up now of toys, and those toys that have been out for a while. They're like, oh yeah, here's some stuff, hopefully in the movie. So we'll see what's going on with that. But this week I might get to sit down and play some of this level with the Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 is adding an Infinity War level, character and level pack. It's not based on the movie. It's actually, you get to play as Thanos, not as a hero stopping Thanos, as he's attacking Black Bolt in the Inhumans' home city of Adelan.
That sounds like a DLC made specifically for you, Chris. Like, out of all the heroes Thanos could fight, they pick your favorite Black Bolt. And he has a really iconic scene with Thanos, right?
Yeah, in actually a series called Infinity, Black Bolt blows up Adelan to try to stop Thanos from getting the gems and take over Earth. So I want to see if they pull that. I want to see if that's what they're going for in here instead. So really looking forward to this character and level pack. So I'll let you know how that goes. Stan Lee, a lot of news about Stan Lee in the news, but the biggest news I got for you, he has filmed cameos for 3 more MCU movies, and I think I figured him out pretty easily here. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, and Avengers 4.
I really wonder, with the man that Stan Lee is at his age, I know there was reports of elder abuse, but he officially made a statement where he said that none of that stuff is happening. He's really mad that people are like slandering the people around him, and he is totally fine and there's nothing going wrong. Of course, you still worry about somebody in that age because you're not trying to be ageist, but it's a fact. Once you get close to 100 years old, you're physically, you just can't like fend for yourself as anybody else could. So you're always going to worry, especially when there's someone as precious as Stan Lee. But I'm curious, since he likes to go to conventions, he likes to reach out to people. He's a man that just loves the attention. I'm curious if he would ever sign a contract that says, yes, you can recreate me in CG and put me in all movies going forward for the rest of eternity because I want a cameo for as long as unphysically possible. I think that would be interesting, but maybe the only way humanity would be okay with it is maybe if Stan Lee like publicly said it's okay, because the very first time they would do that, maybe in like a future Fantastic Four movie, they finally roll out the CG Stan Lee, everyone's going to be like, oh my god, I can't believe they stooped to that level to do it. But Stan Lee's just like, no, I wanted them to do that, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on, would that feel comfortable or weird watching those scenes going forward. It's kind of, they might do kind of like what they do in the Netflix shows where it's just a picture of Stan Lee.
Maybe.
Like a monument to Stan Lee or something like. I don't know what they would do going forward, but it would be weird. Even if he said, yeah, it's cool with him, I'd be like, I don't know, it's a little weird for me, man. But also, you're operating on old news. Stan Lee did file a lawsuit for elderly abuse.
Oh, geez, that's
after that video came out. So, one of his business partners, he's the guy who stole his blood and was using it in the comic books and stuff like that. So,
man, what is going on in his little world? Like, I thought all of that was debunked because, usually you would be still worried if like a press release came out or somebody else was speaking for him, but like the man himself came out and said things were okay. So I just instantly pushed everything else to the side in my mind. It was like, nope, the man himself came out and said everything's fine. I'm going to trust him. But then I guess
and then 2 days later there was an official lawsuit. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh man, Stan, I just want you to go on vacation, just chill,
Keep on cameoing, man. That's all we want you to keep on cameoing. They also said they do a lot, like when they get him for one, they try to get him for as many movies as possible, which I think we've talked about before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if they get him one more time, it might be for, again, like the movies we talked about. Black Panther 2, Spider-Man 2, and what was the other one we talked about? Guardians 3. So.
Honestly, all you could do is just put him in a green jumpsuit, because all you really need is his head from the neck up, and you can CG literally everything else. So just put him in a green suit. Just imagining that man in a green suit's hilarious. Just like on a green screen somewhere in Atlanta, and then you're just like, hey Stan, we just wrote down 20,000 lines. Just read them all, and I'm sure they'll fit in a movie going forward.
We'll write the scene around you. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I don't know. I'd be okay with that more than the CGI recreation of himself.
Or it's just an infinite loop. Like you just start pulling his cameos from other movies. It's just really out of context. Isn't he like a bus driver in a movie or something like that?
He's on a bus in Doctor Strange laughing at a comic book.
Yeah. So maybe he just pull him out of that bus and you put him in a coffee shop. You're like, yeah, we're just reusing cameos.
The next movie, he's UPS instead of FedEx looking for
exactly.
Tony Stank.
And then but he's just delivering like a package to somebody like totally different.
Yeah. I don't have a good joke. There's Steve Rogers, but I don't know what that would be like a Tony Stank. So I don't know, man.
Well, Stan, we love you.
Yeah, we do. Black Widow movie. The director Joe Russo, one of the directors, thinks that the movie Black Widow is coming. A lot of people have come out and said they have Black Widow movies coming. Actors and directors in the MCU, and he says that movies need characters that little girls can look up to. So,
yeah, I didn't want to jump back into my into my Age of Ultron rant again, but I do have to say one moment in the movie that just stands out as just insanely awkward and out of place is on the farm scene where Black Widow does drop the line where she's talking to Bruce that she was sterilized, which is just so weird to see in your summer box office popcorn flick, even when you're in a more emotional moment. Like, that really just feels out of place and something that you could have gotten across without maybe such just straightforward dialogue. But I think things of that nature would fit very well in a standalone Black Widow movie when you can kind of set the tone and theme at the very beginning and it's all within the context of her life and history. Then you could kind of maybe make it fit your movie a little bit more. So if they want to do stuff like that in the Black Widow movie and really just kind of drill into just the craziness of being raised as a Russian spy and just how insane that can be, that I would be all okay for that. Apparently Jennifer Lawrence tried to do it. I don't know how well that movie went, but maybe
apparently it's not very action. It's more dialogue.
Maybe Scarlett Johansson can pull it off.
Well, I don't know if I want to go backwards in Black Widow's history. I know there's a lot there, but Scarlett Johansson's not getting any younger, so
yeah, I feel like maybe they would kind of maybe pull stuff up from her past. Maybe like somebody that she went to school with has gone rogue or something like that, or maybe the program has evolved and something beyond its control. Or
they
something.
do touch on that in Agent Carter. A lot of those original Red Room people were in that. So I would see something like that. Maybe, I don't know. I want to see future. I don't want to see a 1980s set movie, I guess, or something like that. So yeah, I just want
to see how they de-age Coulson and Fury back into the 90s for Captain Marvel. I think they'll be able to pull it off because there is a flashback in Winter Soldier where we do see young Bucky and young tiny scrawny Cap again. Kind of walking up the stairs to the back of his like Brooklyn apartment, and everything's like CG'd there on Cap's face, and it still looks pretty good. So I actually think legitimately you could put Sam Jackson on set. He could be in the pivotal character in the entire movie. But when he's being filmed behind the camera, he's just got like tracking points on his face. And then when they go to edit the movie, they just hire like a team of like 10 people, and it's just like, okay, guys, your one job for the next 3 months is to go frame by frame and erase this guy's wrinkles and put a CG eyeball. Well, no, it's not a CG eyeball because I forgot.
He has
Samuel L. Jackson.
Eyes in real life.
Yeah, he has the real eye. It's like, so all you have to do is just remove his wrinkles and de-age him. That's your job. That's going to be on your resume.
I mean,
you're not going to be doing any fire effects, no explosions. You're not going to render some sort of alien. Just his face. Get very familiar with Sam's face. You got to make him look 30 years younger.
Well, I mean, I think they already have that team of people. They've made people look older, like Agent Carter when she was older. They did it with Ant-Man and the Wasp with Michael Douglas, making him look younger at the beginning of that movie.
I think they'll have to take it to the next level for Captain Marvel, though, because I think it's not just going to be one scene. I think it's going to be the whole movie.
Well, if he's in the whole movie, then he's going to space, and I don't think he's going to space.
Maybe.
But
we'll
I don't think he is. But
his secrets have secrets, Chris. Don't forget that.
But his secrets aren't he went to space. No. But I also think they've been developing this technology since the first Captain America, and I think they've been holding it pretty close to their chest.
Yeah, and Disney in general. I mean, even Star Wars.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be holding on to that younger stuff for a little while. I think they can do it and do it all right. So Captain Marvel should probably have a pretty good CGI budget for them. So I think they'll be good. X-Men Dark Phoenix will be the final Marvel movie from Fox that's in production right now.
Here we go. So this finally answers questions I think we literally talked about last week of what's going to happen to Gambit, what's going to happen to these weird movies that have been planned in the future. I mean, New Mutants was pushed. Dark Phoenix has been pushed. It sounds like next year is their final, I guess, victory lap, if you want to say it, or just a lap in general. They've been lapped by other studios. So they got two movies left.
Three movies left.
What's their third one?
Deadpool.
Well, yeah. I mean, that one's next month. So.
You mean next year?
Yeah, next year.
Oh, 2. Yeah, sorry. I was like, we're not through Deadpool yet, Mike. Calm down. Pump the brakes. The only one I don't know about is Gambit because it could technically still be in pre-production and fall. That's in a gray area. We don't want to see it happen, but it still could because we don't know the intricacies of this whole deal. But the studio, some of the studio heads were at this meeting at some sort of, I think, campus or something, and this guy got to sit down and talk to him, and they were more than willing to share some of their details with him. Dark Phoenix is still in production right now. I think they're redoing. They had to redo the whole third act, and we'll talk about that. But all future projects after the production of Dark Phoenix will be moved to Disney. Depending on how far Gambit is along, they may scrap it completely, but at least we're going to get Dark Phoenix and New Mutants next year. Those are the last two.
Yeah, I think the X-Men is just way too important to the MCU's future going forward, since we're probably going to lose Captain America, Steve Rogers, Iron Man. They could be retiring or just taking a very small role in the movie going forward. So they're going to need some big heavy hitters, which is going to be the X-Men. And it's just a great way to introduce powers and villains into a universe without a whole lot of explanation. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go down that rabbit hole of trying to explain Inhumans to a movie-going audience because it takes literally like seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to get it across to people's head to understand how Inhumans even work. So it's gonna be great for the MCU. So I don't think that they're gonna want to just keep these going in perpetuity. I don't think they want to keep the Sophie Turner, Jean Grey around for any longer than they have to.
And I think that movie's set in the 90s anyway. They'd have to jump forward like 30 years.
Yeah, it's just going to be weird and too convoluted. So, yeah, all these people's contracts, if they're for any longer than what they are, will be bought out. And I'm sure there's clauses that say that's fine to do or easy to get out of, but they'll be looking for other work, and, good luck for them. But I don't think Gambit is going to be coming out of that mess, but it is kind of weird that, we're finally seeing a send-off of the Fox universe. They put a lot of hard work into these X-Men movies. Some of them were good, some of them were stinkers, but they planted their flag in history when it comes to superhero movies. So, good for them. It's just, they couldn't quite adapt to the changing future.
Mm-hmm. So that leaves Marvel with their Phase 4 candidates. And the big three, of course, are Deadpool, Fantastic Four, and X-Men. And honestly, outside of those three, I'm like, who the fuck else do they have? So I'm like, yeah, of course it's going to be these three. They may not do all three. I think we'd see Fantastic Four before we see X-Men to let that die off a little bit. Mm-hmm. Deadpool could be ported right over without any problem. So.
Well, yeah, I think the Deadpool question is the most intriguing one because he lives in his own little fantasy world, kind of detached from reality, where you could just keep the Deadpool movies going, without any changes. And, maybe now he would just have the ability to make, MCU references more easily or have some of those actors cross over. I don't know.
He could reference literally the entire pantheon of Marvel movies after this purchase.
Yeah, exactly. But it does make me a little worried, just to be safe, to talk about both sides. Disney is a family-forward movie. Deadpool is a rated-R superhero movie. What happens with Deadpool 3?
We've already talked about this. They say if it does, they will do it and they will keep it R, but it wouldn't go to Disney's streaming service. It would go to their Hulu service. Yeah,
but I'm not too worried about the where it ends up going. I'm just curious about who's the producer that's on that movie now from Disney. What recommendations do they start giving to the script now that they're making it? I don't know. Maybe
Kevin Feige is Kevin Feige as always the only guy.
I don't know. Maybe they'll be happy. I don't know. I think Kevin Feige might retire, to be honest. I think he really likes doing this, and he's done a really great job, but I can't imagine for the rest of his life in Hollywood he just wants to do superhero movies. I could see him maybe turning it over to somebody else, hopefully that knows what they're doing, after Avengers 4, and I think we would all be happy that he did a great job, and we would all clap and applaud as he walks off into the sunset. So I think there's always reasons to be a little nervous when it comes to movies that we love, but I think this is good though. To bring it back around, we don't have any random ass X-Men movies we have to worry about anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Feige will last just to end. I think he'll last. He'll if anything, he will do Phase 4 at least to kick off the new one for everybody else to go. Because a lot of those directors and stuff he's hired will still be around in the beginning of Phase 4, so I think he'll at least kick that off. But regarding Dark Phoenix, the movie nobody really wants to watch, reshoots they had to redo the entire third act. Reshoots are having sets digitally recreated because they were scrapped when the filming was done, so they're doing a lot of this on green screen to finish it up, because we originally reported this movie was supposed to be 2 parts when they announced it. They didn't say that, but all the reports were like, yeah, there's 2 Dark Phoenix movies. So if they had a cliffhanger from this one, they were like, oh, well, now we got to fix it to where this may actually wrap up the X-Men big universe at the end of it. And maybe they are taking notes from Marvel. Maybe this is how they can get it into Marvel somehow. Or they erase it, they start it fresh. The end of this one kicks off X-Men 1 again. Who knows what's going to happen. So
this will be a really interesting experiment to see what happens. This is the first time I think we've seen a studio kind of fold up shop and push a franchise away.
A franchise with as much history as this, even.
Yeah, so it's like, what do you even do? You know, do you make callbacks to the past of how you kind of kicked off this superhero craziness? And, you know, do you make references and callbacks to the first X-Men movie? You know, do you try to keep it open so people can speculate how all this gets ported over to the MCU? Or do you just worry about making a decent standalone movie because you just want to make sure that you get your investment back on the film? I don't know. Maybe the marketing in this movie is going to be kind of similar to what we're seeing with Avengers Infinity War. Like, it's all led up to this. Or something like that.
Nobody's safe, really.
Or, the final X-Men movie. Yeah, this would be a great way, like, just, kill everybody off. You've never had a chance to do that.
Yeah, I think it might end, like, they now know this is the end. So they may not retool the whole movie, but they will at least be like, this is the swan song for everything we've ever done. This might be a chance where Hugh Jackman comes back. They get him back for a little scene, you know. Like, that would be so, to me, the cool thing is that if it ended with the beginning of X-Men 1.
Yeah, I kind of like that cyclical idea of just, we've had all this crazy, like, time jump and change and shifts. You know, we've changed the timeline. We've gone into weird Logan timelines. It would be kind of cool if it did, you know, sync right back up, and then it's just like, oh, that's
it's self-contained at that point. We don't have to worry about where it goes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. It sounds like they're prepping for the worst, and that's okay. Deadpool 2 got a final trailer this week. We watched the Red Band one right before it jumped off here. But why did they release a trailer this week, Mike?
Because tickets went on sale on Thursday, and I had
officially.
I had a unique experience with this. Well, first of all, I saw that this was titled as the final Deadpool trailer, and usually I don't watch the final trailers because that's usually kind of their last hurrah to get people, you know, to buy tickets to get into the theater. You know, I was already sold on Deadpool, gonna see it. You know, I'm always worried about spoilers because we're gonna talk about another trailer in a little bit that I think gives away a little too much. So I was like, I think I can hold back on Deadpool. So I was like, but I think I heard somewhere, this was around like Monday or Tuesday, I was like, I think those Deadpool tickets were supposed to go on sale. You know, so I just go to my movie theater's website, you know, I pull up, what is it, like May 14th or something like that.
16th, 17th, yeah.
Whatever that Thursday is. And it's like, oh, tickets are on sale. All right, boop, boop. Click on there. The runtime's not even there yet. The runtime was listed as like -1 minute. So that's what the runtime looks like for Cinemark movies when they haven't officially got it yet. So I was like, oh, you know, there's a couple seats bought in that theater. Okay, boop, boop, buy my tickets. And then I reach out to you like, hey, Chris, did you buy your tickets yet? And you're like, what? They're not on sale. And I was like, what? So yeah, I was able to get my tickets a little earlier.
So then I go through this whole thing where everyone in my theater says the tickets are sold out because they're not available yet. They're 0 of 0 have sold. So they're like, oh yeah, we're sold out. And I'm like, well, how the hell did I miss the Deadpool tickets? Like, I would not miss this. So I checked again on Wednesday afternoon, and mine had gone live Wednesday afternoon. So I was able to be the first person in my theater to book my tickets and seats. So I feel pretty good about that. It's a pretty good feeling.
Fox might not have the same team when it comes to ticket releases as Disney does, because they have that pinned down to like the final minute when those tickets go up. And we got ours a couple hours to days ahead of time. But speaking of the trailer specifically, I finally had to break down and watch the trailer earlier this week when I kept seeing a screenshot all over the internet of like a dad mustache character in a parachute plummeting towards the earth with this very stern look on his face. Everybody was saying, this is my new favorite superhero. Oh, this guy's amazing. This is my spirit animal. And what was his name? Peter, I think?
Yeah, his name's
Peter. So I was like, what? I was like, damn it, this is from the Deadpool trailer. If I don't watch it now, this is just going to turn into a meme I don't understand. And when I finally see the movie, I'm not gonna get the joke that everybody else is. So, you know, I dove into the trailer and I actually had a pretty good time. This is a very action-packed trailer. Like a lot of the other trailers have weighed heavy on the jokes and the sense of humor and the crazy kooky world that Deadpool lives in, but this is just nonstop action in your face. So I think, you know, we know that this movie has a higher budget than the last movie. It looks like most of that went into the action set pieces, so that looks pretty cool. And all the action scenes seem pretty toned down. Like I'm not seeing a whole lot of fantastical like CG rendered worlds here. You know, this is all just like a random street in Vancouver with like a long kind of military bus or something like that. So this looks like it's going to be a fun time, subverting some movie tropes in this trailer with Deadpool chopping bullets. he goes to chop that first bullet, and I'm just like, oh god damn it, you can't do that in movies. And I thought this movie would be better than that, and then I'm like halfway through my thought, and then like I start to see the blood shooting out from his back, and I was like, oh no, he's totally getting shot.
Well, the thing is, there are 3 big references in this trailer. First off, he says, "You're so dark. What are you from the DC universe?" to Cable.
Yeah, I like that.
Which was a nice jab. And then he's like, well, he said something about Thanos as well. So he referenced Brolin as Thanos. And then that part, the scene where he chops the bullet, is straight from X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
That's the same exact pose and scene he does. So he does the first one like he did in that movie, and then literally every other bullet hits him. So
that's right.
So that was a really cool throwback to that movie that everyone's like, but that was a really cool scene in that movie when he did that. So
yeah, I actually really enjoyed the DC Universe joke. Just because it's such a nerdy joke reference to put in your final trailer for selling tickets that, like, you know, the average moviegoer probably doesn't even know that there's different tones in their superhero movies. You know, they probably don't even realize the different studios that make their Batman movies and their their like Captain America movies. I'm not saying these people are dumb or any reason. They just don't have as much free time as we do to be super nerds about all this stuff. So I love that they would put that super specific joke in there and trust that, like, we would just enjoy it, and like people, you know, they would just look past it if it didn't mean anything to them. So yeah, it was a fun trailer. I'm looking forward to it, man.
And you didn't feel it spoiled anything. I felt it didn't either. No,
Jen, I'm always worried about the last trailer just, you know, going a little bit too beyond the line. But
so if anyone else was holding out, you'd be like, yeah, you're cool to watch it.
Yeah, I think you're fine with this. And you got to check out Peter, man. That's I gave you the name of the guy.
You've given me the name like 4 times.
Yeah, I always confuse it with John Mulaney, because this guy's name sounds a lot like John Mulaney, the stand-up comedian. It's Rob Delaney. I think it's Rob Delaney. So that guy, he stars in a show on Amazon Prime called Catastrophe. That is hilarious. It's like from the UK, so all the seasons of the show are very short. You can binge like all 3 seasons in like a weekend. It's one of the funniest shows out there. So I love Rob Delaney, so I'm glad to see that he's in this movie, and he's playing a ridiculous character that just saw the ad.
Yeah, it's cool. I like Domino's luck ability. They're like, it's cinematic, and like, no, it's not. It's like, yeah, it is. So I'm really excited to see how this plays out. Tickets are on sale. When I went and saw Super Troopers, and you scan my little rewards card, it printed off every ticket I've pre-purchased. And I'm like, so I've got all these Avengers tickets and Deadpool tickets, and I'm like, well, I gotta hide these somewhere. So yeah, I'm really excited to see that. According to David Leitch, the director, he says regarding the Fox and Disney deal, he's like, the more you put Deadpool in a box, the more he wants to push outside it. And I think that's true. I look forward to seeing Deadpool kind of try to fight his way around ratings and stuff, like you said, or like play Disney. I think they'll let him go a little bit on his own. I think they're not going to end this. I think they're going to continue this mini franchise, if you will.
Yeah, we're lucky. Yeah, we're lucky the type of character that he is. Like, if for some reason, Hugh Jackman decided to stay as Wolverine and they were making more Logan movies, it would be maybe a little bit more awkward, because it's kind of this weird fractured different timeline, and they're really good movies and they're more realistic and down to earth and emotional. But you're just like, well, that doesn't really fold into the MCU very well. You know, there's got to be some sort of connection there, and like, he's the best Wolverine ever, so how do you not want to put him next to Captain America and Iron Man side to side in an all-out brawl? You know, so now that he's kind of retired as the character, things are a little bit easier, I would say. So, but yeah, with Deadpool, Warner Brothers could buy Deadpool and he could be in their universe, you know?
Yeah, well, the thing is, Josh Brolin has teased a 4-movie arc for Cable. Mm-hmm. And as someone who works for both companies, I think he'd know a little bit more than most of us.
Yeah, that's true. He probably let's just compare my contracts at Marvel, my contracts over here, and we'll kind of see how things are syncing up.
And well, I think the thing is, if they came into Disney's property and Disney didn't want to put the Disney logo at the beginning, they use one of their other subsidiaries, like, they could still do Ryan Reynolds and Josh Brolin Deadpool Cable movies without having to change the single. They're like, oh, we already own all the characters. We don't have to change a single thing about this. Yeah. Just go have fun in your little alternate universe where you talk to the camera, and we'll just recast or kick out what's his name, Weasel. The guy who plays Weasel.
Yeah, or I mean, like, I know the Deadpool comics get really crazy with other universes and alternate Deadpools, like a pig that's a Deadpool. You know, things get really weird. So like Ryan Reynolds could fall through a wormhole and he could end up in the MCU universe, and he could just be like a fish out of water type story where he's trying to get used to how superheroes act over there. You know, Captain America could pop up and say, "Hey, language," and then he just, then he swears and we all laugh and it's funny.
Ha ha ha. Yeah, I think there's a possibility for Deadpool to continue on beyond 2 after the Fox deal. So I look forward to X-Force, the movie that we've heard so much about. Also, speaking of X-Force, because it's in their trailer, punchlines and jokes will not be in the final film, sadly. But I think that's also cool that we won't be seeing the same scene with the same line in the movie.
Yeah.
Because there are multiple takes and improvs used, and a lot of those that hit the cutting room floor are now being used in the trailers. Or Ryan Reynolds has been making them up on the fly for the trailers, because some of those are really, really referential. Like I think the first Deadpool trailer had the mustache joke from Superman kind of thing in there, and you're like, that was not in the movie when you filmed it.
Yeah, that's the great thing when your character's wearing a mask. You can make him say whatever you want.
Wearing a mask, and he's here to make references that we all understand. So that really doesn't surprise me, and I look forward to seeing what they actually did use in the movie. So hopefully it's funnier. Knock on wood, right? So. Speaking of Superman's mustache, the guy's getting old. This is the 80th anniversary of the superhero's debut this weekend.
Man, he is just a classic, iconic character that I wish could get a better movie.
It's true. We all do. And compared to Stan Lee's like 95, 96, he's still kind of young. So
that's
you
true, man.
You got to put in some more time, Superman.
That's crazy to think that Stan Lee was born just before Superman. Superman just seems like such a legacy character that's just always been around. And Stan Lee was like, "Nope, I was here first."
He's like, "Yeah, I was a 15, 16-year-old, doing whatever people did back then." I couldn't I don't know what they did back then.
Yeah, whatever they did.
World War I's, while Superman was just getting his orange or red diaper on. So
I think they were avoiding polio and other vaccination diseases.
Prohibition, probably. They couldn't drink, so there's that. The DC movie Birds of Prey is in production with multiple scripts being developed, but there's one consistent in all these scripts, Mike. Batgirl is in all the versions, so they're definitely bringing Batgirl into the DCEU, with maybe debuting in the Birds of Prey, maybe her own movie. We know that was being worked on by somebody else, so whichever one drops first, we're going to get probably a Batgirl casting announcement sooner than later.
Well, yeah, when your most successful and best movie stars a woman, Wonder Woman, created by a woman, you're going to make Batgirl and you're going to make her awesome. So
you think they're going to do Supergirl too?
Oh, I actually never even considered that. That almost might be a clever way to reboot Superman without using Superman,
Yeah, like, hey, we got Wonder Woman. Let's use all the female versions of these characters as a team up. They're going to try to do the women powerful version of the movies first, so I doubt it. Well, I don't know. I was going to say they have a TV show, but The Flash has a TV show too. So really we don't either way.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on, man.
No, I don't either. They don't either. That's fine. Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom got its final trailer this weekend to debut, in time with. We'll probably watch it before Avengers if I was a betting man. Mike says he has been ruined by this movie trailer. I say I still don't give a fuck about this movie. And I'm still confused. But where's my Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily ruined per se, but they do seem to kind of take the steam out of two moments in the movie. An iconic, it's weird saying iconic, but a moment that has stood out in the previous Fallen Kingdom movies is when that kind of mysterious raptor creature is in that girl's bedroom, and like the snout and the claw is slowly coming for her. That might even be on like a poster, or maybe it's like an EW official screenshot or something like that.
That was also in the first trailer.
Yeah, so that that's a very crazy moment, and you really want to know what's going to happen, but you see it in the trailer. Chris Pratt and Blue show up, and they shoot the thing, and then Blue runs after it. So you know how that scene is eventually going to deflate with him showing up. So that's kind of unfortunate. I mean, I never thought the little girl was going to get eaten by the dinosaur, but surprise, surprise, Chris Pratt shows up to save the day. So I guess not a huge surprise there. But also one thing that I was kind of the mystery of the previous trailers of they had like this mysterious crate being brought down like kind of like this runway in front of all of these like rich business people, and they were showing off some sort of new creation, and I was like, oh, what is this? You know, they've been rumors for so long that at some point they were going to put dinosaur like human hybrids in these movies, which I think would be ridiculous, and I'm glad they didn't end up doing that. But I thought, you know, at least we would find out in the movie, and then we find out in the trailer that it's basically just like a souped up raptor. It's supposed to be like the most dangerous predator ever created, so it's just like, oh, well, maybe we could have just waited and saw that in the movie, you know.
But I thought the first trailer showed it's a T-Rex in the crate.
Well, the T-Rex is in the beginning though. The T-Rex is like I'm talking about the small crate that's in like that museum like type room with like, I'm guessing, foreign dignitaries that want to buy these
judging by
things.
The toy releases that came out with the final trailer, there's a couple more dinosaurs we haven't seen in this trailer.
Yeah, I mean, that's always good. We want as many dinosaurs as possible.
But it's so reminiscent of The Lost World. So
yeah,
hard.
It really is.
I'm like, oh, they start off on the island with the dinosaurs, and then some organization wants to get these dinosaurs and use them for amusement or personal protection.
Yeah. But I do have to say the least intimidating person that I've ever seen on screen is DB Wong, the guy that plays like the geneticist, and he's supposed to be like, I think, the evil mastermind that's making these dinosaurs. That's just like, he just looks like a really nice guy that I would go to Sunday brunch with or something like that, or like he looks like a nice dentist who would just do a really good job at cleaning my teeth, and he's supposed to be the maniacal one making this. So I was like, I don't think he should be your linchpin of a villain. I don't know, maybe they're really gonna flex his acting chops in this movie and just be like, oh, we gave you the juiciest lines in the whole script, DB, you're gonna love it.
Well, after his turning Gotham, as I think he was a villain in Gotham as well, but they should I was gonna say they should take a page out of Gotham's book and bring back the twin evil brother of Dennis Nedry, played also by Wayne Knight.
So it's DB Wong's evil brother.
No, it's Wayne Knight's evil brother.
Oh, okay.
Donald Nedry is what I'm going to call him, because he's like, you didn't say the magic word. That's where it all is. But they should bring him into this movie, because that would be. They cloned him. Well, there. We don't need a twin brother.
Well, it really looks like Jeff Goldblum is not going to be in this movie that much. I think they just got him for that like congressional interview scene. I don't think we're going to get much beyond that.
I think he says life finds a way in this trailer as well.
And then he also says the movie title. He's like Jurassic World, and I was like, all right, he said the movie title.
Oh, there it is. So. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm not really sold on this yet.
I'm seeing it.
I know.
I'm seeing it, Chris. I'm going to see it in the loudest movie theater I can find.
Maybe this will be one that'll benefit from the moving seats. I might go out for the D box on these ones.
All right.
So we're gonna run through a bunch of other movies that have been announced out of nowhere and for no reason or whatsoever. But we're gonna start with my favorite one of this, because you texted me about this, and I'm very, very well familiar with. Amazon has picked up Jonathan Hickman's series. He's got two of them. One is called Transhuman, and the other one is one of my favorite series called East of West.
Yeah, I've heard East of West through the grapevine quite a bit, and I heard that you were reading it, so I assume this was a big deal. Yeah,
it's really big. So in it, you essentially have it's this really apocalyptic world, but it's not based on any, like, the Earth as it currently is, but there's separate, like, divisions of towns run by different, like, I guess, governors. And in this, the four horsemen of the apocalypse have woken up to destroy the world, but the one who plays War is like, I don't want to do this anymore, so he runs off. And the other three everyone's trying to face him and chase him down to make this apocalypse thing kick off.
It's like, come on, man, we're trying to destroy the planet here. What are you doing? It's just like, oh man, I'm just lazy today. Okay, leave me alone.
He's got some like he found love in the last version, so he's like trying to turn over a different leaf. But it's really, really good. I'm gonna actually turn around real quick and see how many volumes I have, Mike. How many do you think I got?
8.
7.
I was so close.
I've 7. 8's probably out. I haven't looked in a minute, but I have all 7 volumes. I really, really like this.
Yeah. Well, I've heard Jonathan Hickman's run of Fantastic Four is really good. So It's cool. It's cool to see that he has something going to series of Amazon, and Amazon has a ton of freaking money. So I'm sure he made a pretty penny off that deal.
Well, also Hickman's he created the Black Order, Thanos' children that are coming into Infinity.
Yeah. Look at that guy. Good for him.
He did a great run on Avengers and New Avengers, and then also there's Transhuman, which is a kind of a mockumentary about the discovery of superhuman genetic engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about superhuman genetic engineering, but told in a mockumentary style way. So I don't know. I haven't read that one in a minute. That came out like 2009. So I need to probably go back and pick that up. But you can usually get first trades from Image for like $10, so it would be real simple. So I'm really glad to hear that. Hopefully they pull the trigger rather than wait around. Because they got what is it? Lord of the Rings, but we're not going to see anything of that for years. So thank God Westworld's back on tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's right.
A couple other movies. Doom is getting a reboot. One of the actresses shared a picture on Twitter saying she was going to work on it. And it's probably based on the new successful reboot of the game. The new Doom game is pretty awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
so.
I've heard good things about it. And it's a cool premise. I mean, it's basically like it's a gateway to hell. There's like
that was found on Mars. Yeah,
I think Event Horizon is actually a movie that kind of deals with a similar premise, but I think it gets more psychedelic and like horror scary. But I'd be all right with a Doom movie.
Yeah, video game movies, apparently, it was the new one that Rampage is apparently the highest rated video game adaptation to date.
Which is really weird.
It is really weird, and, it's not really based on it's just the name of the game. It doesn't like how it plays. Tomb Raider did really well this year. We might see some gaming things turned around. They pull their cards right. Mm-hmm. Masters of the Universe, He-Man, I Have the Power, Skeletor. Aaron and Adam Nee, the Nee brothers, are now to direct the picture. David Goyer is out.
Yes, the Nee brothers. Who are the Nee brothers?
They've done like one movie in like 2013, 2015 or something like that. I don't know. I don't never heard of them.
Well, I won't shed a tear for Goyer.
I will not either. But they're on track. They hired them to get the movie on track to release for December 18th, 2019, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that's Star Wars weekend?
Is it?
2019?
Possibly, unless some way they move back to the summer and they haven't told us. But
yeah, because this year is Han Solo. Next year would be Star Wars in December. Yeah, so that's
good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah, well, you've been hired to make a movie that no one will watch. On that regard, Hasbro has some properties like Transformers are trying to kick some off. There's one called MASK, which stands for Mobile Armored Strike Command. The K is for command. All right. I had to look this up. I'm like, what the hell is MASK? Apparently their motto is illusion is the ultimate weapon. Yeah, and I honestly don't know. Just kind of looking up. There's a train or a semi-truck on the cover. Whatever. F. Gary Gray of Fate of the Furious is to launch this franchise for Hasbro.
I really think this franchise is going to go to the way of the Dark Universe. They're going to just put out a stinker, just like the Mummy, and they're just going to be like, "Oh crap, we counted all of our eggs before they hatched. We're screwed." So, I think a Hasbro universe could be fun, if they just understood what they were making. Like, we're making movies based off of toys. Let's just get really silly with it. Hopefully, maybe they stick with that mantra. I think those G.I. Joe movies were just trying to be like straightforward action movies, and I don't think those worked.
Here's where I see this working. Mask, just kind of looking here, the last two series of Mask premise was a racing-oriented theme where their cars transformed into armored combat vehicles.
Well,
with him
sounds
doing
like a
Fate of the
Transformer.
Fury, well, not quite that much. Like, they're still driving the cars, and they can, like, shoot stuff, but, like, it sounds like Fate of the Furious racing. They're going to use the newer versions of this, which is racing. I think it's just going to be Fast and the Furious called with the name Mask or something like that. So
this is just such a weird time to be alive.
Yep.
We're making $1 billion movie franchises off of toys you might have played with.
I've never heard of those toys. I don't want dragged into this. But people like he probably couldn't come back to do F9 of the Furious, whatever it's going to be called, because the Vin Diesel is going to be busy doing his next XXX movie. All right, the fourth XXX movie is going to start production this summer, Mike. I can't wait.
I didn't see the last one, but there's this podcast that I really like called How Did This Get Made, where they just watch ridiculous movies and they just comment on it for like an hour and a half, usually in front of a live audience. And they get really worked up when the new XXX movie comes out, and they just have a grand old time. So I'm looking forward to that episode of the podcast when they do the next XXX movie. So probably won't see it, but sure, whatever, Vin. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. Did anyone watch the last one?
I didn't.
I didn't either. I don't know.
It must have made money.
Or he's just spending his own money. He's like, yeah, I'm in the Fast and Furious movies. I'm Groot. I can do XXX. It's my thing. It's my.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are all the movies coming out that nobody asked for, and we don't know what's going to happen with them. But I just had to put them in there because they were there, Mike. But we've ended the show. This is our last show before Infinity War. I just want to get there. Like, how can we make time go faster? Do you have a time stone?
I don't know, but I'm trying to find my soul stone right now. I lost it, and I thought it was under the couch, but it might be under the bed, but I just don't want to get under there, man.
That's okay. I'm losing my mind stone, so it all works out. It all works. We can just keep going with these bad jokes, can't we?
Oh, man.
Well,
we probably shouldn't.
If people want to know about your theater going experience, or maybe what you're doing this week, where can people find that information out from you?
Well, they can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram and Twitter, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, people want to keep up with you, see what you're doing on social online. I see you've been posting your pops next to their iconic equivalent Blu-rays. Where can they find that?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, VALDAN. I'll share from my Instagram because I never remember exactly what my Instagram account is.
I believe it's Valdan87, I believe.
Is it just got the 87 or the 1987?
I think it's just the 87, but I don't know.
It's probably just 80. It's 87. I looked it up. But yeah, so I went through and took all my pops that from the movies out of their cases, Mike. They were open. Yeah,
how could you?
It's all right. I can open them up and do this, and then put them in front of their movie cases so I could have the full sets of them with it. I thought it was cool to pick the ones I really liked that went along with it. Probably the one I'm least happy about is probably the Korg with the Thor steelbook, because it's just kind of plain. But my favorite so far has been the little bitty Ant-Man in front of the Ant-Man one. So
I could just see somebody like walking by the room where you're doing this, and you're like all hunched over with your phone, positioning your toy in your movie, and you just look behind your shoulder, just like, I'm not playing with toys or collectibles. Shush, I need to hashtag this.
No, that's not it at all. I actually had my wife in here, and we had our phones up with the lighting on, so I get the lighting just right. It was like a whole photo shoot.
I love that. That's perfect. That makes it even better.
Yeah, so it was a whole ordeal, getting them all down, finding the right ones, but it's done. It's up there. You can also head over to Comic UI. I'm starting to post the C2E2 interviews. We've got our Tom Brevoort one up. We will have one with Art Baltazar coming up right around the corners next, so we'll be doing that. Other than that, Mike, if people want to know more about what's going on, where they can find us at?
Well, as always, please visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues we host our little show and to get our show notes. So if you want to get the links to the trailers that we talked about in this episode and you don't want to go hunt them down, or if you want to see that Odeon collected poster for Avengers Infinity War, we got the links there in our show notes, so you can go check that out. And you can always find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, TuneIn, and Stitcher. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and if you want to get some merch for our show, you can go to superheroslate.com/store. Man, if you wear a Superhero Slate shirt to the premiere of Infinity War, I don't think I could give you as many likes as I have in my like savings account. I would empty it just for you. But if you're a fan of the show, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes or wherever you watch the show. I always feel weird. I don't know if I'm supposed to call it iTunes or Apple Podcasts now, but wherever you want to review, subscribe, retweet. We love it when the word gets out. And if you want to be a super fan of the show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week. And we will be here twice next week, fellas and ladies, for our review on Avengers Infinity War. So make sure you're subscribed, stay tuned, and wait for that to drop.
That's right. As long as you're subscribed, you'll get it. That's what matters. So
truth.
Also, don't forget, don't wear an Avengers Infinity War shirt to the Infinity War premiere. You got to pick a shirt that's not that movie. Come on. You don't wear the band shirt to their concert, people. That's the same thing here. So make sure you choose wisely and dress appropriately for your movie-going experience next week. And we'll see you then.
That's right. Listen to Chris. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
And I was just like, I'm just going to eat the turkey. And it's been a nice change of pace. I feel like I've streamlined my lunch.